and I'm not in any way suggesting that you are hedging that question, but neither in the question nor in your thing there was any word or suggestion on how do you see the Indo-Canadian situation play itself out. And that's a question which, on which I think that we would be very happy to have your response.
Let me make three comments there. The relationship right now is going through a difficult phase, but I do want to say it's the problems we have are with a certain segment of Canadian politics and the policies which flow from that. So I want people to understand, in a sense, the extent of the issue. Number two, right now, the big concern which people have is on visas. Some weeks ago, we stopped issuing visas in Canada because it was no longer safe for our diplomats to go to work to issue visas. So their safety and security was the primary reason we had to temporarily stop the issue of visas. We're tracking it very closely. My hope, my expectation is that situation would improve in the sense that our people would have greater confidence in being able to do their basic duty as diplomats, because, as you know, ensuring safety and security of diplomats is the most fundamental aspect of the Vienna Convention. And right now, that is what has in many ways been challenged in Canada, that our people are not safe, our diplomats are not safe. If we see progress there, I would like very much to resume the issue of visas. My hope would be that it's something which would happen very, very soon. Finally, there's this whole issue of parity, that the size of how many diplomats there are of one country versus how many diplomats there are of the other country. Parity is very much provided for by the Vienna Convention, which is the relevant international rule on this. But in our case, we invoked parity because we had concerns about continuous interference in our affairs by Canadian personnel. We haven't made much of that public. My sense is over a period of time, more stuff will come out, and people will understand why we had the kind of discomfort with many of them which we did.
Well, thank you very much. I think that brings us to the end of this closing plenary. But let me say that this closing session has been a very illuminating one. Your initial statements, Minister, covered a wide range of issues which covered on all the three aspects, which is the basic framework of today's closing session, on aspects of geopolitics, geoeconomics, and navigating the Poli crisis. I think that we covered many aspects of this. And I thought that in the question-answer sessions, the issues on the challenges of an orderly transition to an era of renewable energy, to the issues of how to make the initiatives of the G20 a more abiding one, even as you go forward on an annual thing, and the idea of the Troika being given more operational content was an important aspect which you did, and I think that this is embedded in the documents, but I think we need to take this forward as we go along. Also, I think that on the issues of the reform of the international financial architecture, in a complex situation of that kind, we have covered a lot of area. I think that we have ended this today's concluding session, Minister, on a somewhat optimistic note, because you did say that you hope that in the light of some of the things which you may or may not have wished to share, the resumption of the visa with Canada will also see perhaps a happier end than may be evident now. So I think that with that optimistic note, let me, on my behalf, thank the panelists for all their comments which they have made and the interventions which they have made, both to you, Emily, and to Vida. And of course, our great gratitude to you, Minister, for having spared your time and to have interrupted your travel schedule in being able to accommodate this request of ours, that we had the pleasure, if you recall, of having you as the concluding speaker at our first Kautilya Economic Conclave, when I had the privilege of moderating an interaction between you and at that time Senior Minister Thurman, now President Thurman, whom you must have met during your day before yesterday. So we again conclude with this fact that we look forward to our continued engagement as we go forward in having further areas of the